Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how you can paint step by step a gorgeous scene of a mystical sunset that's super healing with a figure and exaltation in it. So I'm kind of excited to do this. This is also a collaboration with my mom, Ginger Cook. So after this show, you'll be going over to Ginger Cook Live. On the mic is my husband, John. My John. My mom also has a John, but my John was here first. Original John with an H and an N. Can you not hear me? Oh, well, you guys can't hear him, but on the mic is my husband, John. Eventually, he'll get there. And so we're going to be breaking this down step by step. There will be a picture-in-picture reference. We're going to keep that and the palette steady and just switch between camera angles so you can see every bit of the techniques, of the color mixing, everything you need to know to be able to paint this for yourself at home. And we're really going to break it down. We're also going to talk a little bit during this fabulous thing about my upcoming retreat with my mom. Because I'm going to be doing a whole week starting May 2nd through May 6th, where my mom and I are going to be teaching classes in the Poconos for you guys if you wanted to come. And we're going to paint with people so much they're going to be tired of painting. Honestly, that's what's going to happen. We've like literally got everybody who's coming like pack. It's eat, paint, eat, paint, eat, paint, eat, paint, eat, paint. So
Don't eat paint.
Don't eat paint, but we're going to feed you and then make you paint a lot and then feed you and make you paint a lot again and feed you and make you paint. But there's s'mores on one night.
I found the mic.
Did you find the mic?
I found it.
Oh, good. Now I'm working on a 16 by 20 today, and I have a very light wish on here, but it's an important one, which is healing and love for those that are searching for that, for whatever that means for you in your life right now, whatever kind of healing you're needing and whatever kind of love and support you're needing. I hope that flows to you like water. So that's my wish on this canvas. This is not sponsored, by the way. I bought these myself, but you guys asked. This is the Alternatives Classic Cotton, and I really do like these. This is another canvas. Oh, my drop was on there.
Your what was?
My lozenge.
Oh,
my lozenge and my lozenge. So that I could teach today's class. All right, so we're going to start. Shall we put up a step and just hop right on in?
Would you like a step?
Let's
So
do
you want me to
step
be
and we'll hop
all
on in.
engineered and ready to go with like a step in there?
Step one, yay. All right. So this is a very kind of interesting and spiritual piece. I'm going to do something important. I'm going to take a tool called a T-square. This is just basically a ruler with a little head on it. And I'm going to come down into the lower part. If you imagine that the canvas is in half, I'm going to come down into the lower third. And I'm going to make a line. I will use watercolor pencil because it will vanish into the paint. And this is my horizon line. Whenever you're painting water, as long as you get this little sucker level, it really helps you make it look like water. And then once we do the reflection and everything in it, it's going to be even easier. Now I'm going to put out some white. And we're going to be painting the top and bottom at the same time, because whenever water is still, it's reflective. So let's start with a little titanium white. Ooh, a little cad yellow. Ooh. Little cad yellow. And interestingly enough, a little quin magenta. Unexpected. That's going to work really well. What's beeping at me? Is it me beeping at me?
I don't know what it is. I'm going to see if it's like...
I think it's me beeping at me.
It may be. You're going...
I'm being notified. Hopefully it isn't a post that's doing really well, because then you'll hear 1,000 beep beeps. All right, let's get a big brush, right? One of the things when you're painting a bigger canvas that's important to remember is a larger brush will shorten the amount of time that it takes to paint a painting. I'm going to grab a towel, and I'm going to get this. This is a Yachtsman bristle brush from our local hardware store.
Oh, everyone is well-wishing.
Thank you so much. I'm hanging in. I'm sure you can hear it. I'm hanging in. I'm getting my canvas a little bit wet before I start. It kind of also sets my horizon line. I'm not soaking the brush, right? I'm barely getting it damp. And now I'm going to load it with some white. Let's come right here. And above our orange line with some white. And below. Because I want this to be very blended and smooth. I may also... Oh, let's put down the splatter guard before we destroy this year's paintings.
Yep, that's good.
I always forget that on the big canvas. I'm going to also, this is a mister bottle filled with water. Just water. It doesn't do big droplets.
Is that the one we know is a Mr. bottle because it has a mustache?
No, that's not the Mister. All right, so I've got a little bit of white all over here. Now I'm going to come in and take some of my yellow and some white. And I'm going to come here and make sure that what I'm doing up top, I kind of create also down below.
So it reflects.
So it reflects.
That is so clever.
Now, if I change directionality, sometimes when I'm brushing something in, you can see that it softens it. Around the paint, continue to make sure that everything stays a little bit, moist, so the paint will continue to blend. Again, this is just a brush from the local hardware store. If I need a little more water on the brush, I get it and I tap it off on the towel. There you go. See how that really starts to put it out?
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard sometimes to control water.
Need a water bender.
We do. We need a water bender. But you can see a big brush. Oh, I got a lot of pink on there. So I better make sure there's a lot of pink there. So if I ever make a goof like that, I just make sure the goof is the same. And then it's not a goof, it's a magic moment, right?
It's a reflection of something we did not intend.
Of something we did not intend. Now, every once in a while, I'll rinse the brush out and I'll soak out the water with a towel. And kind of make sure I've got a little blend going on whatever's happening here. See how we're like blending it?
I do.
Then on the outer edges, I am going to get into the pink because that's going to go really well with the blue to create some deep outer ranges. We want some deep outer ranges. It's hard to align with how messy this can be at the beginning.
Align yourself with the mess.
Yeah, you got to kind of, all right, I'm going to have this first layer of what? And then suddenly, like magic, you build in all these other layers, clouds and different things, and then you're like, what?
Ah.
What? It'll be wonderful. Oh, gotta stay out of leaning.
Well, you're good there. I can look at you both sides. See what you're doing.
I'm gonna rinse out pretty well. Again, and I'll try to get it soaked out on my towel because we just don't want to carry so much water in the brush. And these bigger brushes can carry too much water. So when you learn how to control and you just have an old sacrificed kitchen towel. I'm going to come in with a little more white.
It's something about the terry cloth towels that do really well.
They do. A little more white and yellow. Just kind of make sure that I've got a nice little glow afoot here.
Oh, it's glowing.
It's glowing. You can always use a second dry brush to blend if you have a bunch of extra ones in, and they can have a really nice effect.
Yeah.
But I like to demonstrate the one because I realize until later on in your painting, you're probably not going to have just so many brushes in your bucket.
You tend to get one brush too.
Well, it's just sometimes for this, it is nice to be able to switch out. However, I can get a blend going and softening here. And then if you think there's two layers, just for the beginning of the painting, if you realize that there's just these two layers, then it's very, very chill. See how we're blending it?
Yeah.
You can still see the horizon line there that I put in. And I'm just making sure this is all very soft and diffused because skies tend to be a little soft and diffused. This brush wasn't pricey either.
Yeah.
No, it was a pretty reasonable one. The reason I came in a pack.
Hey, you know, those brushes have to put up with a lot.
It was over in the chalk painting section where we
that's
found
right.
it.
We found it in the decorative brushes.
In the decorative brushes. But what you see there is that we have a bit of a yellow keyhole beginning. We're going to expand this and do this. But to get further on, we're going to have to dry the canvas, believe it or not, to do the next blended layer.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
You can dry it.
All right, I'll dry it.
I will
And it's a new
watch
step.
you dry it. Okay. You can step afterwards.
Okay.
We must dry before we step. And I could talk to you about all sorts of things, but I wasn't prepared to, so I probably forget all that stuff. But what I will say is we have the Ginger's after us. I remembered that, so you can go see her after the show because she'll be going live. And we have an event coming up. We're doing that with Ginger too. So I remembered that. You can probably find out about the description down below. Links to things like traceable references, the mini books, all that stuff down below. Oh, and if you're thinking about it, you could smash the like button, yay! And do the subscribe, ring the bell. I forget they have all that stuff. You know, the human-y social media things that you do to do the stuff. And thank you to all of our patrons and everybody out there. I see Patty out there. I see all y'all. Thank you, thank you. Oh, and you need to step.
I need a step.
Have a step.
How are you guys doing? So again, it's a lesson. It'll have a mini book. There'll be a traceable, but it's also like a collaboration marketing event with my mom. For the Art Sherpa retreat with my mom.
I kind of
May 2nd through May 6th.
I almost marketed that.
Did you? Oh, okay. I just never know.
I think I more did a drive-by mentioning.
But hey, guys, on Friday, there's a free meetup. So that Friday, you can come to the retreat. Let me give you guys the instructions. Because I get that we're on budgets. Gas has gotten crazy. It's a thing, right? We're all kind of in a thing. And so after, and anyone going to the retreat can stay, but from 2:30 to 4:30 at the Shawnee, in which room are we in? The river room?
I think so. That sounds it sounds like
there's going to be signs and stuff. You come back and we're going to have a free meet and greet and paint. I think we're going to do like an ATC paint along.
You know.
So you just come to that. You don't need to register. You don't need anything. That you can write us and let us know you're coming, so we kind of know.
I'm just saying that the staff kind of spots ours coming, and it's like, you must be looking for the Art Sherpa, aren't you?
Well, we kind of know our own.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. We do.
We do get some. We do get some.
So we have everything, and if you're not in the Pennsylvania area, when COVID and the world kind of, I don't know if the world ever is going to calm down, but I have to believe it will again because nothing is consistent as change. When things become more normal and temperate, I think we're going to do some touring and stuff, and we'll always have free meet and greets. Like I think we've got one coming up in Florida in April. Mm-hmm. You just watch my page and stuff, and I'll let you know when and where I can meet up. All right.
When and
where.
All right.
I'm going to do a mop brush next. This is an oval mop 1 inch. It's synthetic. I'm going to get it a little bit wet. I am going to continue to work my towel, as you do. I'm going to go ahead and load up with a little bit of white and yellow. It doesn't really matter what we're doing here as long as what we do up top, we kind of do at the bottom.
So it
water is a mirror for those that did Acrylic April last year.
Now this is where that keeping things level also kind of gets important, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does help. And we can always reset the wonderful, wonderful horizon line, but we want to just take the drama to the next level. Where you want to have some drama. So cad yellow, quinacridone magenta, titanium white. Still just working those colors. I will get some cad red and maybe some fun stuff in there to make as dramatic of a sky as is possible.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm going to show you a secret tool. This is a secret weapon. This is gloss glazing liquid.
What does it do?
It slows down the drying time of paint, acrylic paint specifically.
Why would you want to do that?
Because it helps you blend. I was the stop that, John. So it slows down the drying time of paint and allows you to blend. It also creates a glaze. This is when John throws me off.
Ask her questions that she knows I know the answer to, and she's like, "Why are you doing
Well,
that?"
no, in the middle of me like answering.
Yep, that's what it is. I'll mute you for a minute.
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay.
So I'm just blending here, and you can see what that does is it really allows the paint to brush out. See how much that helps?
Mhm.
That's a worthwhile thing to have in your corner. Maybe a little more yellow in that mix. Coming into the pink and yellow. Yeah, maybe.
All right. Okay, we're back.
Too crazy. Now notice that these brush strokes are curving up, kind of like in a smile. Well, if they do that there, then they've got to do this. They've got to curve back down.
Oh, I would not have done that. That would have definitely been like a...
So that's an important thing to realize is that if you curve up like this, you have to curve down. A thing to know. Getting into the pink again. And you can see this second layer really creates
some depth.
some depth. Sometimes on skies like this, just knowing how to expect the layers to come in really makes all the difference. And I'm just using that glazing medium to improve the flow of the paint, the brushability, so there's less drag on the brush. If you've ever played with a brush and felt like it was almost as if the canvas was gripping it and holding you back, right? You're making sure that the canvas cannot hold you back. All right. Just building up the color. And you can see that that second coat really creates a depth of color and a luminosity.
It does.
And that's worth it. If you've got the time to be calm and take some moments with your canvas, that's so worth it to get it there.
Just gotta avoid partners who come and ask questions incessantly.
Well, no, it's a fantastic product, right? So most products just glaze or they slow down drying time. But that particular one allows you to glaze, extend, and slow down drying time. And unlike a true slow drying agent for acrylic, where that's all it does, if you mess up the mix on that, you can stop your painting from drying entirely. You can't mess up this one. It's very beginner proof, which is why it's the one I recommend. It's not that there's not some slow drying, slow drying agent that isn't more slow drying, but it's so specific and temperamental that you would never put it in the hands of a beginner. In fact, Mark Golden, who works over at Golden Paint, said that was one of the things he worried about was new artists getting into those products and not knowing about the temperament of them. And that's why they have the golden glazing gloss. All right, let's call this a step. I'm going to put out some more paint. We'll dry.
Okay, well, you dry, then I'll step.
You'll
That
dry,
way.
well, I'll put out more paint, dry, and step. Well, I
Okay,
guess
well-
I'll dry and then put out paint. Why dry the acrylic before I have to?
That's true.
All right.
And while she's away, we'll talk about not using heat when you are drying your surface, because heat's not great on acrylic, because acrylic is made of a synthetic polymer, and synthetic polymers are heat, responsive, like not. It can do things called color shift, and it can cause it to get sticky, and your brush will stick to it. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I don't know if it deserves its own public service announcement, per public artist service announcement, but I mean, I have to have something to talk to you guys about while she's hair drying things, and that's like a thing that I can talk about, because it's a thing. So don't use heat. And don't forget to subscribe and like and ring the bell, because those are all good things to do. You got to do the human things. Thank you for all the help. You guys, by sharing what you do, sharing your paintings, coming and sharing in group your adventures, that all lets us know how you're doing, and we really appreciate it.
Okay. Now I'm going to put out a couple more colors. I'm going to put out some.
Wait. Let's give a step.
Okay,
then
step.
You can put out colors.
I'll put out colors.
Because this is a fresh step.
Fresh step.
Fresh colors.
Fresh, off, baked out of the oven. Okay. So where you're at right now, I want you to take a deep breath. You're doing okay. If you're a very, very, very new painter, I have a beginner acrylic painting course that makes these terms and techniques easy peasy lemon squeezy, and it's free. And there's 10 little paintings in it, which is the first 10 you need to do, and all of those beginner questions that everybody should be answered that they never answer. So it's a pretty cool course. I'm sure there's some people in here who've taken it that can say, oh, that really helped. So if you're having any trouble with these techniques at all, know that you can do it. You just might need some information and skills to make it easier. But you can. You're very capable.
While you're doing your paint, I got a question.
Okay.
What's a cutter?
What's a cutter?
What's a cutter?
A cutting brush?
Well, Betty would like to know what's a cutter.
So a cutter is a style of brush used in painting houses where you want to trim in on edges. So
they cut in.
They cut in.
So generally what it means is they have that interesting...
Are you correcting me?
No, they just have... like if you go look at a cutter brush in the paint store, they got an interesting little cut to them that makes them go shook, shook, shook right in the little corners, and they make a nice little clean line. So...
Yay.
I spent an entire, couple of days practicing with a cutter brush so I could do the chair molding without having to use tape.
Well, again,
look
he's very excited about the cutter brush.
I like them.
They're a wonderful brush, and you can find, in my opinion, brushes that are equal to the $70, $80 art store brushes in the hardware store. The difference is you might lose a few more hairs, sometimes not, in the hardware store brush. So that's an area where you can save some money. You can get a really good cutter. Huh?
We are Sherpa.
Woo! Oh, we're Sherpa?
Uh-huh.
So we should
We're more way more than Sherpa.
We did it. We did it. It's good to be Sherpa. I missed you guys too. All right.
Okay.
So that's something to save some money on, is those cutter brushes at the hardware store can be really comparable.
We showed them that this is step 3.
Yep. Step 3.
Right. We're in there. All right. I just want to make sure.
Okay. So we're going to go back into our big brush. I'm going to use the one that's wet already. Right. You get this up here. I'm going to get it a little damp, and I want you guys to see this. I'm not getting it super damp. I barely get those ends in there. Right. And I even tap it into a towel. And we're going to come in with just a little bit of purple. I don't want it too wet, though. So that's what I'll be controlling, is how wet it is. Get some glazing medium in it, maybe.
Ooh, that's a purple.
Isn't that very strong?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And we're coming over the pink, and here's what. There's cloud formations that come around this that are going to bridge the space between these two zones. So actually, this is phthalo blue and dioxazine purple.
That is
glazing medium.
Oh.
And we're just creating some depth up here for the sky.
What are those retreat dates?
May 2nd through May 6th. That's the week before the Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, that makes it convenient to know.
I get to see my mom, and I am kind of excited about that. All right, so here we go. We're just making sure there's sort of this dark world at the outer edges, right? The outer limits. You can even get a little blue into it, which is pretty dramatic and gives it a very galactic sky. This is a little bit look where I have this on my brush here at the edges, right? So if I'm brushing it in, I have a lot of control over it. The paint isn't loaded heavy. I'm going to show you a cool trick with another brush. And again, remember, we're going to have lots of clouds and sky between all this stuff. Now, where it's coming in, I'm going to come in and get a lot of magenta. And we'll even come back with that pink magenta to create that sort of barrier. So looks pretty brushy, right? What do you do about that? Well, you're going to rinse this out very gently. Make sure there's no paint in it. Remember how I said sometimes if you have a second dry brush?
Yeah.
Watch what it do. Second dry brush.
Oh, it's like a super blender.
It's going to soften and blend this. You just have a light pressure on it. You can use really any, if you have one of those fans that isn't useful as a fan, it's a good brush for this.
Oh.
Because it's super soft. Any soft brush will do this. Makeup brush you don't like. All right. What are we not too concerned about yet? That space between the blue and the bright. And how we're keeping this from graying out is this. Now, before it gets too dry, I'm going to do a thing. Again, guys, if this is at all hard, take that beginner class because you can do this. This is just about knowing what you need to do. I'm getting the mop brush again. I'm going to load it up with some magenta. And just make sure got a nice little magenta bridge happening here. Look at me work my towel. Right? Softening that edge. Little curves. Do you see that?
Wow.
We're just curving that. We're softening that. We're letting it glaze. Hasn't dried yet. Where would this get hard? If it dries. If it does dry, just start over. Just do another layer. Get some glazing medium.
Huh.
You don't have to worry and give up, though. Grabbed a little bit of white there. We're creating a little keyhole in this space. Just brushing. This is a lot like, a blush brush. I've had some people go to Five Below and get some really good blenders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of is package by package, deal by deal. They're not all good blenders, but they found some. All right. So that is pretty good there. We kind of given ourselves an irregular edge, right? And that's what we're looking for is an irregular soft edge. Because when I come back with my clouds, it'll keep it from being just a stripe. We're avoiding a stripe. I can even come in with some glaze. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And soften that edge a bit too. To get the exaltation, we've got to create the keyhole of inspiration and of light.
Oh, that was inspirationful.
Was it? I'm so weird today. I'm sorry. Oh. All right. Making sure that the paint is out of this. We are going to dry and then come back, and I'm going to show you how to put in the stars.
Okay. Let's do that. We're gonna. Oh, you're like.
I'm like it's a step and it's not a step.
Like,
I'm like acrylic April minded right there.
All right. She's all like waiting for me to cut, and she's like, all right. She's like, all right, and we'll go to the next step. That's normally where I go. Okay, we're gonna cut, and then she'll take a sip of coffee, and we'll talk for a second. She'll reset and get ready to go to the next step. But that's not what we're doing today. Today we're doing a live thing, and that live thing is, well, live. So, no coffee breaks for us. Well, actually, I take that back. As soon as she's done, I'm going to go find my cup of coffee. Because it's around here somewhere. I may warm hers up, too. That'll be an excuse for me to escape and find my coffee. Hey, I'm guessing you need your coffee warmed up, don't you?
It'll start the coughing on me.
What's that? Oh, you're not drinking coffee?
I'm not drinking coffee. Bless me, I am not.
Well, that is so much more reasonable than probably me.
Why? Why?
Because it's, 4:50 and I'm...
Oh, no, you've been going all day.
I
You've
need
had
coffee.
such a day. You have. John has had such a day. Everybody just send John some love. Such a day. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm gonna put out some more titanium white.
Your mom is in chat out here, I think.
Hey, Mom.
See.
How are you doing?
Hi, Mom.
So my
Like, my
mom
mom's
has the
out there, too.
funnest class planned for you guys after this. You're going to go right from this to my mom's, unless I'm still painting, and then you're just going to leave and go to mom's. Come back and catch me on the finish. Collaboration day. Last time we collaborated, we painted birds all day. You guys remember that? All right, so let's go over the paint colors again. This is the golden liquid glazing, right? The gloss glazing liquid slows down the drying time of the paint, extends it, and improves brushability, lets you glaze. Cad yellow medium, quinacridone magenta, the oxazine purple, phthalo blue, a little bit more titanium white, and here's a very important other color I'm going to put out, golden fluid acrylic in titanium white. See how it's a little different, how it pours out like a liquid?
I do.
Do ya?
It pours out as a liquid instead of as a semi-viscous fluid.
Now, I have nails right now, and I'm sure if you have nails, you'll be like, oh, no, our nails. But it's all going to clean up with rubbing alcohol, so don't worry. I'm going to take this brush. It does look like a toothbrush. A toothbrush will work. This is just from my Galaxy set of brushes, if you can still find them. All right, and I'm going to flick back and create the stars. Now, this is a messy, messy technique. Okay? It is hard on your kitchen. And if you get it anywhere you don't want it, all you've got to do is go back with rubbing alcohol. Regular rubbing alcohol, and it'll clear it right up. I'm going to rinse my brush out. That's all that was. That was actually pretty fun. Now, I do recommend at this stage, if you had a star where you didn't want it, you could brush it up and out right before it dries. I'm going to dry it, and then we're going to come back and add the next layer of clouds, which you're going to love.
Okay.
Why do I dry the splatters? Because otherwise they will drag all over the canvas and become messy, messy shooting stars.
Okay.
Do you want messy, messy shooting stars?
I don't know. Do I? No? No messy shooting stars.
Not unless you intentionally want it.
Okay.
Not accidentally. You don't need no surprises like that. Deep breath. Relax.
Okay. So, I'm over here looking at it. I'm not sure. We may step here between this. I'm not sure what our plan is. Because we may have not stepped before we did the stars. So I'm not sure. We definitely should step next, though. So I get to talking and not thinking and forget to remind her to step. And, you know, we do that thing because it's live. And we can't, you know, fix it as easy. Because, you know, time traveling is expensive. You think, like, yeah, we'll just, you know, I think that we didn't step between the sky and the stars.
It'll go together. We can step now.
Okay, I just want to let you know. You ready for a step?
Yes,
then?
we'll do a step.
Yay! There you go.
If you need help doing splatter, you don't have these tools, you need another way to do splatter, I have a whole video that's only like 15 minutes on all the ways to do splatter.
Yeah.
So you can just get that up. Let's put out a little cad red too. This is a nice power color. This is cadmium red from the Senelli line. I'm going to get a hog brush. Let me show you some hog brushes. Hog brushes. These are hog brushes.
Hog.
They're wonderful. All right, let me get a bigger one over here because I'm close to it. Okay, in a new line. All right, so stuff in this size range is what you're looking for. Hog comes from, it's the bristles from the back of a pig. Pigs, it's a byproduct of an already existing industry, so it's not like any pig is killed for the brushes. This is just another thing that you can do with those bristles, and you can get these in a variety of lines. I've even seen them in sets on Amazon.
Ooh.
Be sure to wash your bristle brushes thoroughly before you use them, otherwise they'll shed on everything. Let's make clouds, shall we?
Yes.
I'm going to get my brush a little bit wet. I am going to switch into some cleaner water. I'll let John get me some clean water on his next break.
You know what? I can totally get you clean water. I was going to fall on the sword and reheat your coffee.
You were? But then I had no coffee.
But you had no coffee.
Let's get some cad red. I'm going to smidge a little cad red into a little cad yellow. Go ahead and you can let the glazing medium get on it. Let's come here at these edges. And I'm going to notice the load of my brush is light. It's at the tip. And I'm going to lightly touch the canvas. I'm going to dance it around. You'll hear people say that. Dance it around. Right? What that means is like little light touches. And you're allowing a soft, diffused effect to happen. Takes a minute to learn to do it. You can do it, though. I'm going to come in and get some quinacridone in here. And the nice thing is the quinacridone will help me create a great bridge between this line and this line in the cloud line. No, we're good. I come down here and do some of the same down here. Just making sure that if I have it up there, kind of have it down here. Doesn't have to be totally perfect for your mind to feel like it is what it is. I rinse out pretty often and I dry off with a towel. All right. So that gives me a little bit of leeway. So you're just dancing. Just dance. And sometimes you can get back from the canvas if you're at an easel, which can be kind of nice.
Very much enjoying the colors of today's painting.
Yeah, today's is just got some great color.
It really does.
It just really does. I'm going to get right into some yellow. You see I'm just on the round part of the brush. I love you too, Twix, but not today. I love you every day. I can't pick you up. I'm going to go ahead and get a little of my quinacridone. If I need to soften the line there, I can come in and just wipe off my brush and soften the line. Just softening the line.
Ooh.
Look, I can soften between these two zones. The quinacridone. It lets me put some beautiful transitions in here. If I want to get a little white into it, wow. I just have to remember to go down to the bottom of my canvas and the top of my canvas. If I curve up here, and I curve back that way. Just the opposite ends of the curve.
So that it makes that reflection.
Yeah. No rinse out. Let's get some drama here at the center. You know, it feels, I'm sure it feels like it has it.
It really does. I mean, like, it's
I'll pull some
super.
Glazing medium out and really get some white on here. And let's say right here, I'm going to wiggle in some white. Now, I'm working from the mid belly to the toe. You can hear the light scratching noise on your surface.
Enjoy the sound.
Enjoy the sounds. Yeah. A lot happening. A lot of crazy. Everything's gone crazy. But here, it's all fine. Kind of strengthen that up. This should feel like almost like a divine light coming through.
It really kind of does. Has that feeling.
You know, and again, whatever that means for you. You know, I know what it means for me. But it might mean something else for Sheldon Cooper. And that's not really the concern. Right? Add some yellow to that. Just brushing that in. Now, the thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to edge out a completely hard horizon here. This is distant, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's cosmic, right? So things should be a little dreamy.
I like the cosmicness of it.
Yeah, I did too. We used this as a thumbnail when we first did the retreat channel, which is now the watercolor channel. And I just always thought I'm going to do something with that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I always thought that. Do something with that. And then little curves. There's a lot of curves. Sometimes it's a big stroke. Sometimes it's a small stroke. See how that's happening?
I do.
You guys see that at home?
I see it.
What you guys see, you can do. Now I'm going to get into my CAD yellow and my CAD red. Make a nice orange. Not a great orange. Look at that tangerine. After this, you guys head over to my mom's channel, right, and see kind of what she's going to do. At the retreat, she's going to be doing palette knife class.
Ooh.
Palette knives. I got watercolor, and she's got palette knives. So I do watercolor and acrylic, and Mom's going to do acrylic palette knives, acrylic.
She's going to work with kniffs.
Kniffs. Get that going. All right, let's call this a step, just because it's a lot.
It is.
To take in, and then we're going to do some boundaries between those two, some little cloudy boundaries that you're going to love how that goes. You're going to love that merge where we make this edge stop being such a hot mess. Even if it's a hot mess, though, it's fun to do, right?
It looks really good.
All right,
so
big round brush, yes.
We have stepped.
We have stepped. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. Into the
I'm going to get my
painting.
glazing medium into my brush. See me work that in? It does help. I'm going to add a little bit of my quinacridone here, and I've got some white into it. Even some CAD red is fun sometimes.
Ooh.
What we need to do is create a space where this makes sense. Yeah, wiggle it back and forth and soften it. Press in, and some color kind of works out. And then, you know, just take that in, step back and look at it. You know, here on the edge, I can take my quinacridone and my CAD red. Look at that cosmic color.
Oh, yeah.
Such a wonderful color, and it goes over the purple so beautifully. Now I have some white in the mid belly, and so if I press harder, what starts to happen is it starts to push out the white. So what I have to do is I have to squeeze my brush and integrate it. Integrate those colors so there isn't a band of white here in the middle. So brushes work a little bit like a pen, old-timey fountain pen, and as you press down, it releases the pigment, and if you have layers of pigment, that can kind of come up and surprise you.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel surprised?
I do feel surprised.
All right, I'm going to come here and add some quinacridone and yellow and kind of, again, making this little mid-range, aren't we? Not be so messy. To our little galactic sky. Look at that go. Get a little white into my brush. I have the other color still in it. Can even get a little of this in it. That goes peach on me. Who doesn't love some peach?
Especially in a cosmic sky.
Cosmic peach is just the best peach. Because nebulas taste like strawberries. I don't remember. Somebody said that once. I don't think that's actually true. It's one of the few things I wish hadn't been busted. I was like, I wanted them to taste like strawberries.
Well, astronauts say that space tastes like burnt steak.
I feel like if you're out in space enough to taste it, you're not coming back inside the shuttle in one piece.
No, they're saying like, when you first come in from outer space and you just pop the airlock and the residual sort of smell taste in the room from space
Is
burnt steak.
Is burnt steak.
Apparently, there's a good reason for it, but you can go look it up. It's interesting.
We'll look it up, man. We'll get into it, right? So this nice kind of deep value. Now I can come in and, maybe a little bit of my phthalo blue and white.
Ooh.
Maybe more phthalo. Just play with it. Just dance along there. Look, I'm just coming in.
Pretty phenomenal.
It's fun. On the toe. Hard to learn to make these irregular little shapes, isn't it? Takes a minute.
Have to kind of practice.
It does take some practice. It does take a little practice. Kind of like that there. And just kind of put them up top and then the bottom, and it's just sort of, ooh, it's a drama.
It is.
A little drama. Maybe a little white and yellow again.
That's pretty cool.
Just playing, like, get some white into it and come in the queen and then come up here and, I want to say, oh, hey. Is it pretty cool?
I think it is.
Cool like a cutting brush?
Yeah. Well, cutting brushes are pretty cool.
Cutting brushes are pretty cool. Yeah, I used to think there was a big difference between them. And then I just learned, I was like, man, not necessarily. Let's just pull this along here and it's so exalted right there, isn't it? The colors.
Wow. That's a pretty phenomenal sky.
You're so sweet. He's like a cheerleader for paint.
Am I?
Yeah. Cheerleader for paint. So if you guys are staying on tonight, it's Ginger Cook comes on. They're a little after darky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll be talking about all the current events.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Look at that. Just going pretty well. You know, maybe a little bit of the quin in the docks, just a little bit, and some maybe purple. Right? Look at that. It's a neat cloud color. And that merges through here beautifully.
Yeah, it does.
So you can see that rough spot, why we could afford it, because we knew we were coming back with this.
I see.
All of this beautiful little drama that edges it out.
It really is beautiful.
You can absolutely have all the drama you can imagine in your space. Just drama it up.
Everybody thinks this is really beautiful.
Wow, it
Lots
is
of
beautiful,
support.
and it's just fun to do, guys.
You can do it.
You can do it. And if today it's hard, it doesn't mean it's hard forever. Right? Perseverance and practice are powerful things. Oh, I really like that.
Super duper.
It's just very emotional and fun, and it's just getting there. I really, really dig it. You dig it?
I dig it.
Sometimes I like paint better than digital just because it's like this, because the colors are so
There, we can
vibrant.
see you.
Huh?
Now we can see you.
Oh, we can see me? I'm sorry. I was like looking at the painting, and
you
I'm
were.
like, sometimes. Da, 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 da. I guess we can pull this back up so
I think
you
it's
can
a
have a nice
step time.
back. It is a step time, and I never get this right.
Pull it down and let go.
All I can do is pull it down, and then I can never get it to go back up.
Yeah, it's true. There you go.
And away it went.
Okay.
Deep breath. We'll step it.
We just did.
Yeah. All right. Now let's put some forward clouds, right? Some cosmic clouds. I'm going to take my cad red and a little bit of my docks purple. And I'm going to come right here. On the toe. See how on the toe I am? I'm just like a little brush ballerina.
Mm-hmm.
As you go back, you just add a little more docks purple.
Ah.
So the closer it is to the light source, the oranger will be, and then as it comes back, it goes into the deeper purple.
That makes sense. When you say it like that.
When I say it like that, I do. How are we doing, guys?
I think
Deep
everybody's
breath.
really enjoying it. Yeah.
You're doing wonderful. Thank you so much for coming today. I am looking forward to seeing everybody at the retreat, but I'm also looking forward to when we can get these free meetups going, if anyone can make the free meetup. I've got hopefully something maybe happening in Florida that we can meet up and at least have a meet and greet.
Florida.
I will post dates as I know more on the Art Sherpa page on Facebook and things, probably in the community tab out here. A little more red. See how you take it there? Rinse out. It's a weird little cloud shape, so you gotta kind of take that in and go, okay, how am I getting
cool
that?
Cloud.
Huh?
It's a super cool cloud.
It's super cool. I'm gonna get some bright orange. And this is about this part being closer to the light. You know, I might get a little more yellow. It takes a minute to dance the brush. If I can, you can. See how fun that is to play with the reflection and how that makes it a reflection. Sometimes I like to get the shading in there. Really come deep purple back here. Right, and we bring those in so that they kind of reflect each other. That's fun.
Super nice.
All right. Do we have any questions? Anything? Because I know we got Facebook and YouTube going here. So I really want to thank everybody for coming. How are you liking yours? Take a deep breath. And release. Got a lot of videos on clouds. Got short ones. Got long ones. Got a lot of tips.
Yeah, Rihanna just can't wait to try this one. She's very excited.
It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And again, there's steps are going to be broken down in the step-by-step book. So if you want to see a layer of cloud and then the next layer of cloud, sometimes that's the mental space that lets you break it down and see it. It can be kind of hard to take a painting in when all the layers are there. But if you just strip it away and break it down into steps, you're like, well, that's really kind of doable.
Yeah.
I can do it. I know you can do it. You've got this. It's just steps, and steps are possible.
All right.
All right. Woo.
You ready for a step?
I'm ready for a step.
There's a step.
There's a step. Okay. I'm going to... Nah. I don't need to dry. So we've got a figure right here.
Okay.
And she's sort of important. I'm going to be a crazy person and freehand my figure in. Because I like to just live on the edge, you know. One of the things is try to understand scale. The figure is going to kind of be in this amount of space here, right? So she's small in the face of the vastness that's around her. It gives a sense of the meaning of this moment. You know, sometimes what I'll do when I've got something like this to sort of take in, I'll take a brush and I'll sort of sketch in lightly and then, you know, solidify. And I think, you know, right now I'm going to just start with a little of the diox purple and a little of my orange. And again, this would be where you'd use the traceable of the figure. Let's say the torso is going to take up this much, and I'm going to kind of bend my line here. That'll help me find the bend in the back. Like a parentheses. Right? And then I'm going to come up at the top with a very short T. This is a weird way to get there, I know. Again, I'm taking my cad red and my dox purple and a little bit of yellow. Right, so just a couple fingers, just a couple fingers. Right. And then another little T on the other side. Get a little water on this. I'm going to make 2 upward lines in a similar length. I don't want them to get too away from me. one might be a little bit long. And you can kind of look at things and be like, oh. So if the waist is here, you just want this to be able to bend down to the waist. That's where the elbow would be. That's how I know the length of things that I'm doing. Right?
Now, is there a name
and
for
this
the
is
gloves?
my shoulder, and this is my shoulder.
Is there a name for the gloves you're wearing?
These particular ones are golfing gloves. There are sunscreen golfing gloves. They had more patterns than the other ones, but they're just a compression glove, and it's just keeping my hands kind of warm at night. So coming here, I'm going to come out for bust line and bring in for waist. Curving back there. You want a nice tapered waist right there.
Yeah.
Now, the forward arm is what I see more of, so that's the one I've got to have a little more concern about. Bicep, shoulder. This will be kind of wider at the elbow. Right, so you see where that goes into the elbow and it gets a little wider there.
I do.
So that's just one of those little things. And then the hand is a little bit bent. So I have this thing called a paddle, and I build my hands off paddles.
Yeah.
Which is kind of this like little paddle shape. How I manage the crazy that's my hands. Now, luckily, only a little bit of this over here is really showing, so. But we still want to make sure that the arm is thicker at the elbow. Comes in. Even if we know it's going to be covered. And that hand's bent back a little bit. So it's a journey if you're going to freehand it. Right?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Now we're lucky because there's a little bit of a skirt. And I'll sketch this in a bit. I got some little legs coming down. And again, my red and yellow and dots purple. So here at the knee, I'm going to want the thigh to be a little thicker.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes in at the back of the knee, and then there's a calf. So we want to make sure that our water kind of, stops there. Same thing, a little thicker in the upper thigh, down to a knee. The knee is here, then the other knee is here. I can always come back through. Okay, and fix anything I want to there.
Oh, yeah.
And line those up. So I'm not ever really stuck. And it's going to be about the way the shadow and everything comes out. So I don't even got to worry about that. A little bit of my purple and white and yellow. It kind of creates a grayed out color. I can really start to put the dress in. Stroking down. And then don't forget that, you know, it's going to be wavy at the end. If drawing is not your thing yet, then you just do the traceable and then fill it in. You haven't cheated. You're just using a technique. One they teach in art school.
A highly successful, well-used technique.
A highly successful, well-used. If it's good enough for Michelangelo, it's good enough for you. That's generally my feeling on it. So now we have that nice little skirt going there. A little darker towards the back, and we'll definitely lighten the front of this. And then a little bit of straps there. So we're not doing bad. We've kind of built that figure, right?
Yeah.
You know, we're getting there.
It's totally
We're fighting for it, but we're getting there. We're fighting for every inch of it, but we're getting there. We're going to need a little detail brush, I suspect. I'm going to get a #1 monogram liner, and which is just a small, fine detail brush. And I'm going to get a little of my red and purple on there and come to my hands. And just do the little bit of detail that I want to do for my hands. I think I turned everything on. So I could hear all calls, and now I've got all calls. Right? So we know right here, we've got a little thumb. Make sure that I get my little thumb out. This is going to be, for me, the challenge. Getting those little fingers where I want them to be. So things to remember is that your pinky finger is going to be the smallest of your fingers.
That makes sense. As far as fingers go.
I have to really work this. All right, I'm going to have to dry that and correct that.
You think?
Oh, no it.
Okay.
Let me dry it and correct it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to just go back in there and make some adjustments, you know. And that happens. All right. Let's see what she's going to do next.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with a light color, and I'm going to trim back my fingers where I want them to be.
All right.
Sometimes that's just easier to do. To make sure this is pretty clear of color. I'm going to get a little bit of my white and yellow together. I may even want to just rethink it entirely. Just not loving it. And that'll happen to me on occasion. I'm like, I'm in it, and I'm like, oh, I do not love it. So what do? Paint it away. Not for 2 weeks. I don't give up on something for I don't go at it for 2 weeks, but I will sometimes look at something and go, that isn't where I wanted to go. So I dry it, paint over it. Look, I'll just, not even a problem. And then if I dry it again, I can come back in and refine that any way that I want to, which I'm going to do. I'm going to simplify.
Okay. See, you just come back in there now easily and just change the way they are. Could I use a black canvas and get the same effect? It might be a slightly different effect because the way that the paint layers, you could get the same effect. You might have to just work a little differently to get that. Robin asks.
I'm going to put on some glasses so I can see better.
All right. Get some detail orientation.
Yeah, I got to get my vision enhancers on. I never get to wear these over there because they're green.
Right.
And they vanish. Oh, that's so helpful. All right. So I'm going to just sort of stop and think about the detailing on my hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to center the two fingers in the middle together and then the pinky and the pointer finger out. So this being the longest finger, I'll bring that out again. I'm being quiet because I'm trying to not shake my hand.
And I'm zooming in so I can kind of see what's going on there.
Just very slowly building up. There we go. Now we've got a better positioning on those fingers.
For sure.
And then this one. Maybe a little bent.
Oh, yeah.
And out. All right, so we've got two together, and then that leaves the hand a little more where we would want that. Right?
Yep.
Oof, now we got to do the head back hair.
All right.
Head back hair.
Same step?
We're all still in this step.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
No change in step. Takes a minute to put this in.
I just don't want to make sure that we're all.
So we want our head to at least, be in space just a little bit above the height of the elbow. Little forehead, cheek. Not sure that that's jetted out enough, but we'll begin there. Because we're very lucky enough to have the hair coming back this way. And remember how I talked about we didn't have to worry about that far arm too much?
Yeah.
This is why. I'm going to just blow some hair back.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Okay.
Coming in.
I'm going to call that a step because I'm going to refine the face in the next one where you see just the partial of the face in the sunlight. We're going to put some of her in the sun, some of her in shadow, and we're also going to make the reflection on the water. How are we doing?
Good.
Are we okay? Is my mom live yet?
I don't know. There's a step.
There's a step.
Then you can see the step.
Let's dry this too.
You're going to dry it while
Yeah,
I'm
I think
doing
so.
this?
Just real quick.
Okay, give it a little dry. Little dry. Dry, dry, dry. And thank you guys for hanging out, being part of what we're doing. You know, it's all so cool to have everybody hanging out and doing these live things.
Freehand live. It's so much fun. But it is the process, right? And you don't want to hide the process from everybody. I'm going to get my palette wet so that it is not drying out on me totally. I'm going to begin to put some face details in.
All right.
So again, let's take our yellow and a little bit of our red. It's okay if some of our purple gets into it because it grays it out. We're keeping the palette simplified here.
Ooh.
I'm going to bring some of that highlighted color. A little bit highlighted. I'm going to get a little bit of my white. Very carefully. And highlight that front of the face. There we're doing.
I see it.
So it's just a hint, right? We're just hinting at it. And did a little bit. So more. Back from the eye. I'm going to just go ahead and position a little bit of maybe a hint of an ear. Just a little highlight there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the hands and arms, come to the forward of the arm. And I'm just using the monogram liner because it's small, right? And I'm just putting a little bit of glow. You know, maybe a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. So just a little bit of those things. And then let's get into the highlighty details.
Generally likes how the highlights make her pop up.
Yeah. It really just pulls it all together. And a little highlight on the inside of this arm. There we go. So now we've got a little halo effect.
Really do.
Listen, if you don't do a lot of figures, definitely go with the traceable.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's a journey. I love it. It's a great struggle. It's a lot of fun. But you've got to be in a place where you remember that the struggle isn't bad. Right? Like sometimes in life, in school and different places, if we struggle at something, it's bad. You're not good at it. You're not enough. It isn't working out. You should be concerned. But really, the struggle, especially if it's not life threatening, which painting is not, is really fun. The working it out, because you've got to remember that it's okay for not everything in the universe to come easy. And it's okay for you to spend some time working out a process. You do not have to berate yourself because it all doesn't just flow in. Because there's not like some weird natural talent fairy that's going to come through and hit everybody, and then magically everybody is just like, oh, I just paint now. I mean, I suppose that happens to some people, but for the most part, we just practice. I love the practice part. The practice part is great.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best part. I'm going to come back through, and I'm going to take a little of my Cad Red and my Cad Yellow again, and some Docs Purple. Kind of making my dark color. And a little bit here too. Look at that. Right? And then maybe a little more into the highlight version of it. Right, just on the inside of the leg. And we're also going to do some like little lining highlights in there to play with that, but this is just where you're at right now. Right? Let's get some dark color here. I'm just striking in, making little ripples.
Oh, yeah.
Of the shadow. Yeah, we're doing right there where she's in shadow. You got to have that shadow
To anchor her.
to anchor her.
Otherwise, she's just floating in space.
Otherwise, she is just floating in space. It's okay as you go out to lighten it even. Because where she's at, maybe there's a ripple.
Yeah.
Right? Where she's at, maybe there's a ripple. It's okay to come back with a little highlight into here. Look at that. It'll surprise you. I'll go get into some of my white. Doesn't that do some neat stuff around the figure?
Wow. It did some neat stuff around the figure.
It did some neat stuff. So again, after this, you're going to go to my mom, Ginger Cook Live, and we're talking about the retreat where you paint not something quite this complicated. You paint with me and my mom from the 2nd to the 6th, just eating and painting.
But not eating paint.
But not eating paint. Definitely nobody's going to eat any paint. Not what we're doing. I'm going to come here on the hair and where, you have the little hairline. Perhaps a little bit dark there. Maybe at the top. There we did.
Oh, yeah, some little red there.
Yeah, and then at the edges of the hair. And then even as you go through.
Was that a mixture you pulled, or was it?
Yeah, so this is a cad red medium and a Doc's purple, and I've got a little yellow here. And it's all the same colors I'm hitting her with, and I just want to make sure that the like the ends of her hair catch a little light. Are you guys seeing that?
Yeah.
So, because it wouldn't really matter what her hair color was, it would have that sort of highlight.
Right.
Now, the putty color was a little bit of our red and yellow and some Doc's purple and white.
Okay.
So that's the dress color. The front of the dress will be the lightest. I'm going to come here and put some highlights on there. Now, and then come back into a darker color.
Same mixture, just darker?
Same mixture, just more purple in it. Right? Which is the orange, purple, and white. Cad red, cad yellow. And white.
You stand to your right just a second. There we go. Oh, perfect. See some of that.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. I just want to see some of the close-up of that. I think your girl looks really better than the picture.
Oh, thank you. I think I'm feeling this painting. A little more white. Maybe there at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back into your fluid white and your monogram liner.
Oh, some highlights.
Yeah, highlight along that dress.
The glows.
Yeah, you maybe want to give a little bit right here. Definitely to the front of the legs. And you want the front of the legs, front of everything kind of highlighted, showing that. You could highlight here because it's out in that kind of space. And some of the hair could highlight as well. A little bit of her hair, catching a little of the light. You know, playing with the ellipses around the legs. I'm gonna rinse out and get some of the dark, dark, dark color. Am I enough out of the way?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have more than one camera to see over your shoulder.
Okay.
That's really good, though.
Just making sure that, you know, we've got that nice deep shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I like to put some shadow in the hair. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get into stuff. I'm like, oh, that'll help, or that'll be a nice thing, or that'll be lovely. Oh my goodness. What do we think, guys?
I think it's spectacular.
Man, isn't this a painting that we need right now?
I think so. You gotta sign it, though.
We do. Do we have
Can't,
any
like,
questions before I go about the retreat, about anything? It's a collaboration
yeah,
with my mom, Ginger Cook Live.
Why don't you recap it?
Okay, so from May 2nd to May 6th, my mom and I are having a painting retreat. We have a few seats left. It's all inclusive. We feed you and we paint with you. We paint with you constantly. Your days will be broken down into a small group of you with me and a small group with my mom, and then we swap. She's going to be focusing on some palette knife stuff. She'll be showing that in her class, what she's going to be doing with you guys, which is really cool. Like, we even got modeling paste and everything. We provide all the materials. You don't got to bring a thing but yourself and your smile. That's all you need to bring. Mm-hmm. We really, really take care of you. You come in and, you know, you meet and greet. You've got lots of goodies to take away. In fact, like, we've got even more than the last two retreats to give. We're like building up our like generosity basket for sure. Your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you eat with my mom and I. Like, we're there with you guys, eating with you. So we're like characters at Disneyland that you eat with and then you paint with. And what I found is, like, it will be more painting that you need. You're staying at the Great Pocono Shawnee Resort, which means that you can go lay down in the room if you're like, oh, girls, that's been great, but I'm gonna go lay down now. This is a lot of art. We're gonna art more than you need to art. I'm gonna be doing watercolor and acrylic. So I'll be teaching some watercolor and I'll be teaching some acrylic. You don't have to have any knowledge about either medium to come. We had one retreat where a lady didn't even know who I was. She just was like, her husband was gonna golf there, and she saw the event. She's like, I'm gonna go. I like painting, and had a blast. So we really got you. We've got s'mores one night. There's also on Friday from 2:30 to 4:30 a meet and greet that is free. So if you're like, I'd love to stay with you, but I don't know if you noticed it, but gas is $1,000,000 a gallon, and I don't even know. But you can get yourself there. We're going to be doing a meet and greet. So, like, for all levels, you know, and we totally get it. I'd like to say for sure there would be a next year. But I no longer say for sure anything.
Yeah, we have other events already in the planning, and we're hoping that by the time we get to this one, we're going to be ready to announce the next one. But Fingers crossed. There's secret plans.
You never know.
You never
The
know.
future is. Let me blow my nose real quick.
Okay, you blow your nose. Oop-a-doo.
So, I don't want to definitive. My mom and I would like to do this because we're so excited to see each other. But you never know what the future holds. The world is, if it's shown us anything, it's like it's willing to dump the Legos out on the floor. That said, I think it's going to be great, and it's going to be like kind of like camp for adults. And it's so much fun art and projects. You get to play with really amazing materials and brushes and surfaces. Oh, and we have an art expert coming to talk about art materials and a fun project with Ann Seagraves from the Art Shed, who's going to come and do like it's like a rustic shabby chic sign project with you guys, where you guys can pick artist at work, yes and yes, or like you do as a sign, so you can hang that in your studio at home. We got to wait for you to get your artwork home. We pick you up from the airport and drop you off. If you're coming in that way, you can drive in, though. We have a lot of people who drive in, and you get to stay and you can check out the shine. There's other stuff, like if you want to bring your family, they got golf, they got kayaking,
There's axe throwing. There's archery.
There's all the things that you kind of think of.
I think that they have a professional beer drinking station.
They do. They have a lot of stuff. So you don't even have to eat with us. We have food we provide.
They have a microbrew on site. Go ahead, cough. Do your cough.
Love to have you. And this is like, I don't know, like this is how I like tell you that there's a thing. This is, I'll give you a free painting if you listen to my spiel. It's kind of like the timeshare of the Sherpa. I'll teach you art for free, but just listen to something for like 5 seconds. Acrylic April starts April 1st. My mom saw after this a Ginger Cook Live. So if you don't know who she is, you could go, she's like me, but in no way like me.
No, different.
Totally different. Like, we're definitely mother and daughter, but we're completely different. So it's not like you're like, it's the same thing. Not the same thing. You should go definitely check it out. And she's going to be there, and it might be a one-time thing. I would like it to be more than I'd like it to be a 2-time thing, but for all we know, my mom just indefinitely go on a cruise and she'll be unavailable. Her blackout dates will be unreasonable. Gosh, guys, I hope you loved doing this today.
This is fantastic. I
cannot wait to see your paintings of this. I love bringing you big lessons like this and big clouds like this. Acrylic April, those are going to be like 30-minute classes to 1 hour, all about flowers. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to paint flowers and you'd like to do that for free, we're going to be every day live streaming at 1 p.m. I'll be in chat, and those classes have traceables and mini books and are 30 minutes to an hour on flowers. And this year, I think at 12:45, the next day's painting will release as a short 1-minute little peek video, time-lapse video, so you can see what you're getting into for the next day, because you guys were like, I just want to see what it is before I jump in. So we're like, oh yeah, we could do that with this little short video thing. So, wow, I had a bazillion words to say.
Things to say there.
I did. Ginger Cook Live. That's what you're doing next. You should go do that. She's got a really gorgeous painting she's going to show you guys, and she's going to show you what you're going to do at the retreat too.
Yep.
All right. I can't think of anything else.
All right.
I've had a cold. So, yay, me. Thank you for coming today. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. I really want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.